Welcome into Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts with CPA and personal financial specialist, Phil Putney. Now let's get rolling with today's show. Time for another edition of the podcast. This is Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts. And Phil, in today's day and age when everybody and their brother's got a podcast and everything is online, to the nth degree, too much research could work against you. Yep. Crazy to think, but it's actually a thing now, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, and you don't even have to research anymore to get information. It's
That's
available
true.
Everywhere.
You're bombarded with it.
Everyone's got their computer in their pocket anymore, and it's they're looking at it all the time. So you're always getting bombarded with information. And opinions.
And let's be honest, we're all doom scrolling oftentimes in the restroom. Let's be honest, a lot of times we're doing that, and so you're getting hit with clips and shorts and all sorts of things and AI content and blah 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 blah. And yet, some of the worst financial decisions we see come from people who did a ton of research, right? Like, you get hit with this stuff, then you go down a rabbit hole, and all of a sudden you wind up making a worse decision. So let's talk a little bit about that this week here on the podcast and what good research hopefully looks like. Where are people getting their financial information these days? Traditional sources are still there. Obviously, CNBC, Bloomberg, Kiplinger, Wall Street Journal. I feel like that stuff is definitely tapered off, certainly of a certain age, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The landscape has clearly shifted to YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely shifted more to the social media style of information. Yeah. So especially if you're doing information searching or whatever. So,
They're called Finfluencers now. So
Finfluencers.
Finfluencers. Yep. Maybe some questionable credentials here, though. Let's be honest. A lot of times.
You've got to be careful. I mean, if they've got 5 or 6 credentials behind their name, just really look at what those are because
or none, but because they've got a ton of views, right? Oh, this TikTok channel gets all these views, and this person's a spouse. So, and it's like they have no credibility and no license, so they can say whatever they want, and they're not going to jail for it, right?
Yeah, so, that is key. I mean, if you're like me, I mean, I'm licensed. I can't just ramble off and say whatever I want and not have consequences because
exactly. Well, that brings up a good point. Can people spot the difference between education and infotainment? That's tougher to do now.
Oh, it's very difficult to do. I mean, just kind of even stepping back, I've always said I can't imagine being a retiree, looking at this vast world of quote unquote financial advisors and deciding who to pick because, there's, and we've talked about this many times before too, what is classified as a quote unquote financial advisor is a broad range of credentials or not even credentials. It's just all you need is a license. And I mean, you don't even need credentials to get that. So I mean, you got to be really careful in going beyond just the credentials and what they call themselves to really understand the background and true, what I would say more true kind of known factual credentials.
Do you still get people kind of coming in saying, hey, I saw this on such and such and I want to talk more about it? Mm-hmm. Is there like is it Wall Street Journal still or?
No, I mean, I still get clients, not like every week, but every couple of weeks I'll get a client that shoots me an email about, hey, I saw this on Facebook. What do you think?
Oh, okay.
Like, that's, there's not a lot of
infotainment in there. Well, and that could be, Phil, the new AI factor, right? Yeah. Because people are obviously using it. You can go on Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever and get a lot of questions answered. But I hope that people are also then double checking that because they're wrong a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's getting better, as it's starting to progress. So I use AI for a lot of the research just because versus doing a Google, right? I mean, Google, the first 15 things.
It's the same thing now anyway, but
But as you get, you can. There is an AI version usually a lot in your Google searches or whatever. But so to me, with some of the AIs now, the large language models, you can get where they'll tell you the answers. You're not getting all the ads, but then they give you references. And that would be the key to me is it has to be one that tells you, well, here's, you ask it a question and it gives you the information. But
then you got some context to it, right?
Links to context.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
The key is that an LLM AI isn't a know-it-all, right? All it is a big search engine. It's looking at the vast information that's out there and coming back and answering that question. And it wants to answer the question, and that's where it would do this hallucination where it'd come up with false information in the beginning because it just wants to answer the question.
Yeah.
But the key is now a lot of them will give you, well, here's the answer and here's the resources. So don't just look at the answer, click on the links and see where did it get it? Is it pulling it from some TikTok video or some other message board, or was it actually the IRS? Was it the IRS website, or was it something credible that you can point back to say, oh, that makes sense? So
well, and to your point, like your AI doesn't know your tax situation or your timeline or your family dynamics or your risk tolerance. There's a really funny.
It's not meant to be a
no
financial decision maker by any means.
And it wants to please in an oddly weird way. There's a funny video I saw where this guy, a guy, on the one side, he's it's him in the video, but he's showing how simply it can do things wrong trying to please you. Yep. And he's got a sandwich and he says to the AI, he says, hey, I want you to cut this sandwich in half. And so the AI goes, sure. And it tries to cut it long way. Like it's a 12-inch sub and it tries to cut it through down the middle like that. And he's like, no, the other way. And it's like, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. Let me do it the right way. And it flips it over and tries to do the exact same cut. No. I mean, cut it in half the other way. And it's like, it can't figure that out, right? It doesn't, It lacks common sense sometimes. Yep. We want it to cut the bread in the sandwich in half. So we have two halves and it's thinking, cut it right down the long way. You still have two halves, right? But so, yeah, you got to kind of keep that stuff in context a little bit because how you prompt AI can certainly lead you down a bad path easily, and it starts making more mistakes.
Yeah.
Any particular algorithm for financial searching that you do find a bit more, I guess, accurate than another?
No, I mean, it's just a matter of looking at the resources that it's pointing to, right?
Okay, so following up that context.
Yeah, I mean, and getting into and so for most people, I don't think that they are even going to AI yet. I still think they're getting a lot of information just through the other social channels. Because AI for a lot of people is this mysterious, scary thing that they don't want to delve into. I mean, it is a powerful tool. I think it's a good thing. It's here whether you like it or not. It's kind of like the advent of the cell phone when it first came out. It's like, oh, no one wants this, but everyone's got one in their pocket now. So, it's kind of where things are heading. And with anything, you just have to understand what it's doing. And to your point, that's the biggest thing with AI is it's built to answer the question.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, it's going to answer the question. So,
well, how do you recognize somebody comes in for a consultation or review? Maybe it's a first-time client, most likely, and you can see that research has led them into too much research has led them into a path where they're either frozen to make a decision, or they are already against a particular product of any kind because they've seen enough content that they are like, nope, this is the worst thing since sliced bread. And I'll just be honest, like it's typically annuities, right? Not every advisor recommends them. Not every advisor thinks they're a great tool, but they can be a useful tool in certain situations. Sure. But there's so much content out there that you can have people walk in and go, I want to talk about, getting a financial plan, but don't you talk to me about annuities because I know they're all bad.
Right.
Well, you've now been kind of predispositioned to think something's not useful. What if it's the only tool to get done what you need?
Right. Well, and that's with anything, right? I mean, it's a matter of understanding, number one, their perspective and where you're getting. And I always like to find, well, where did you to build that perspective? Why are you saying that? What's the basis of that? Not that I'm trying to argue that it's the right thing.
Right.
But my role as a financial advisor, as a fiduciary is whatever the best solution is for your problem, I'm going to present it, right or wrong, whether you like it or not, that's your decision. If you, at the end of it, say, no, I don't want to do it, that's fine. There's other options. This isn't the only option that's available, but you've got to be careful in any, and I would say whenever you're getting any information, especially online like this, understand why. Why are they telling you whatever it is that they're telling you? There's always a reason, right? I mean, on social media, if you're, it starts to understand and know you and build the algorithms are designed to feed you what your interests are or what your positions are. So, I mean, if you start to kind of lean into this, and we'll use the annuity thing, because, I hate annuities. I mean, it's going to start feeding you all sorts of videos on I hate annuities, because what does social media want? How do they get paid? They get paid if you're there. The more time you spend in front of that phone on that thing, they're going to eventually show you ads and things are going to come up. That's how they're getting paid. So they get paid by having viewership. It's the same thing with TV, right? It's, the news gets paid by viewership. So they want to sensationalize and give information, not that it's false, but that is going to generate and keep viewership. It's the same thing with any kind of social media. You've got to be very careful, because it's going to start to, if you lean into something, it's going to start to feed you more and more of that same thing. And it's very easy to get, taken down that path of, well, this is, everything I'm seeing says this is wrong, so it's got to be wrong.
The Tax Smart Retiree is your comprehensive guide to mastering tax efficiency for a flourishing retirement. You will find indispensable advice and actionable strategies designed to enhance tax savings, maximize Social Security benefits, protect against market volatility, and develop a customized retirement plan. To get your free ebook, click the link in the show notes of today's episode and download your copy of the Tax Smart Retiree right now.
Yeah, and I think what happens is you get two things. You get either the paralysis from the analysis happens, which is you now lack confidence because you've seen so much conflicting data that you can't make a decision, and so you have no confidence in your own ability to decipher it.
Right.
Or B, you become overly confident in a decision that ends up being the wrong one because you have watched so much marketing, basically, and didn't even know it was marketing, maybe.
Right. And that's a lot of times where I see clients is they get to that point of just, they're overwhelmed. They don't know, right? Because they've seen both sides, and, this person says this and this one says that. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's where a financial advisor can help, because number one, I'm a real person. You can talk to me. We can have a discussion. When you're looking at social media, you're just hearing, right? They're just telling you whatever it is that is a quote unquote fact, right? Their version of the fact. Their opinion is what it comes down to. And there is no discussion. You can't ask why. It's just, this is what it is. When you're talking to an advisor, don't shy away from that. Have that discussion. If you hate annuities, have the discussion. Tell them, hey, I don't like annuities, and this is why. And hopefully that advisor pushes back a little bit to understand,
sure,
not to defend it, but to say, well, why?
Right.
And that's my role, isn't to defend anything. I don't, it doesn't matter to me what we use, but I want to understand why, to make sure you are truly understanding the decision you're making. Are you hating annuities just because this person says I hate annuities because,
and you should too. There's a big campaign out about that. Yeah.
Is that the reason you hate it? Well, do you even know why?
Yeah.
Look behind the reason why that is the case, and does that really apply to you?
So
it applies to any different product or even any different strategy. I mean, Roth conversions. We do a lot of Roth conversions. There's tons of videos and things out there on Roth conversions, and everyone's got opinions on both sides. But at the end of the day, all that matters is how that applies to your scenario. And that's the other key thing to understand, is that
right. Yep.
all these videos are talking generalities, and they might be giving a case study, and you might kind of have similarities to that case study, but it's still not you.
Well, Phil, I mean, we do exactly that to that point.
Yeah.
The podcast is completely general a lot of times.
Yep.
It's just sharing nuggets of ideas and thoughts and concepts and things like that. But that's why we always say, before you take any action, sit down with the actual person and run it, right? Because then you can make that data more personal. So it's fine to get general info, but don't run to the bank with it. You know?
Yeah, don't try to piecemeal a plan together based on, well, this video said I should do this and this one said I should do that. And because those videos, Finfluencers, I think you call them, they have no idea who you are. You're one of the 3.7 million that looked at that video. They don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
They don't know what your facts and your scenario is. Where a financial advisor, that's where it should start. A discussion with a financial advisor should never start with, well, here's the strategies. A discussion with an advisor should start, well, tell me about your scenario. What does retirement look like to you? What's your vision for retirement? Eventually getting into understanding what your finances are. And then at the very end of all that, once a plan's been developed to meet the goals and needs that you have in retirement, looking at the assets you have to then say, okay, well, based on all that, here's the plan. And then here's the financial products that I think best make that plan work in your scenario.
There you go.
I mean, that to me is the right path to take, because now you're not getting sold a product. A product may be getting positioned to meet a need based on a plan.
There you go. Because being informed is a good thing.
Oh, it's a very good thing. Yeah.
But being confidence in misinformation is clearly a different thing entirely. And that's the world we've created. We all see that now with all this, whether it's political or financial, sports and stuff, whatever. Like you see quotes and things from, your favorite actor or musician or something like that. You don't even know if that stuff's even accurate anymore, because it's just, it's a whole thing that we've created that's really just gotten out of hand, right?
Yeah.
So do a little research, get some things together on questions that feel important to you, like who I am as Mr. Smith or Mr. Jones or Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Jones or whatever, and say, okay, this is bothering me. I've done a little research. Now I'm going to go talk to an actual person who does this stuff every day in the trenches and go, all right, this is what I'm concerned with. How do we talk about this? Right. That's all you got to do. Right?
Yeah. And then, whatever that concern is, make sure that person has the credentials to talk about it. Taxes.
Great point.
Big thing we talk about all the time. So,
Great
if your concern in retirement is taxes, well, don't just talk to any financial advisor, because not many of them are truly trained and understand taxes. Make sure that person knows taxes.
Yeah.
And this is a portion of their process that is looking at that, and they have the credentials and background to be able to support making those decisions.
Yeah,
and
that's a great point.
Advice, so,
as a CPA, right, you certainly have that aspect going on as well. I make the funny joke to make it humorous, but it's like, look, if you need a podiatrist for your foot, you don't want to go to the proctologist. You will not like the result.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not giving the same result. So
go to the right doctor, right? Those are two different body parts. You don't want to confuse those two.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, do a little research. Research is a good thing. We've got all these tools available to us now, but don't become married to an idea, good or bad, until you find out how it truly affects you. And do that through working with a financial professional. And you know what? Go find a couple of them. Talk to one or two or three. Now, don't try to build a plan with three and go back and forth, because now you're just driving yourself crazy. But vet them out by having those complimentary reviews or consultation strategy session. Yes, it's a little bit of your time to do so, Phil, but who cares, right? Take an hour out of your life, maybe an hour for a 3-week period, go see 3 different advisors and see which one is the right one for you after you've done your homework.
Right. Because that strategy session is going to work for both parties, right? It's meant for that individual looking for an advisor to get some of those high level questions answered and make sure, hey, if this is your concern, is that an area of specialties that you can handle and have handled before?
Exactly.
And make sure then also that there's a good fit, right? That there's this comfort level of, is this advisor more consultative, where they're going to kind of walk you through the process, or they're just saying, no, it's a bad idea, this is what you have to do. What do you, maybe that's the type of advisor you want. Well, then, that's part of that process. And the advisor's doing the same thing, right? If we're vetting out the person that's coming and we're having that discussion with, to see, number one, do the scenarios that you present, is that something that we can help with? Do I feel we can bring value to your scenario? And number two, do I feel like there's a good working relationship here? Because
that's a great point.
For me as an advisor, there's nothing more frustrating than trying to work with somebody that we're saying, here's some strategies and this is what we need to do. And then we put a plan together and then they never do it. They don't want to do it, or they're pushing back later. It's like, okay, we've got to come to some kind of an agreement and trust, where the advisor, again, like I've said many times, my role is never to tell you what to do. It's to show you options and to walk you through that process. But at the end of the day, there has to be some trust level that things are now going to happen and we're going to move in this direction. Otherwise, it's a waste of both parties' time, because you're not doing what the plan says, and we're both going to be frustrated 3 to 5 years down the road and not have the right outcome, right? Because you're going to be thinking, well, this has been a waste of time because we're not done anything, and the advisor's like, well, you haven't followed the plan that we've talked about, So it has to be a two-way street.
Yeah, that's a great point, right? You've got to find someone you can work with that can work well with you and that you guys can build this plan and execute it. Because if they build you something and you can't stand talking to them and then you're not going to follow through with it, and to your point, it just becomes a whole mess. So, go out and do a little bit of homework, figure out some of those, 4 or 5 pain points that really frustrate you or worry you about your specific, retirement journey, you and your loved ones. And then go talk with a couple advisors and see who resonates with you, who's got the credentials to back up the conversation, as well as I get a good feeling and I feel like I can work with this person. And it's going to be a good relationship because it's going to be a long-term relationship. Unlike the accumulation phase, Phil, we talk about that often. You're not just there to help me grow my money. This is totally different. We've talked about that a million times. Retirement, hopefully it's a long-term relationship because you're going to be retired hopefully for 20 or 30 years and you've got a good person that you're working with. You like them. You're going to be able to go, you're going to be able to see them and do that, annually for the next 20 years.
Yeah. And it's not set it and forget it. I mean, this is a plan that you guys should be reviewing because facts change, right? Your life changes.
Yeah. Big time.
Tax laws change, the market change. I mean, there's a lot of things that change all the time. The variables change. So you've got to twist and adjust and make the plan move along that path to make sure that at the end of the day, you're getting the retirement that you envision.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's going to do it this week for the podcast. It is, we're right here at July 4th, so hopefully everybody has a happy holiday season and all that good stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, and get some time onto the calendar with Phil and see if he's a good fit for you. Start with just a phone conversation, 248-888-7530, 248-888-7530. Don't let the holidays be a deterrent. It's always something, right?
Yep.
Just get some time onto the calendar, have a conversation, get started today, or find him online at philstaxhacks.com. That's philstaxhacks.com. Subscribe to us again on Apple, Spotify, or right here on YouTube. And click on any of the links in the show description as a way to get started as well. With that, we're going to wrap it up this week here on the podcast. So we will see you next time. For Phil Putney, I'm your host, Mark Killian. Thank you for tuning in.
Phil? Investment advisory services offered through AFS Wealth Management. The content of this program is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. Investments and/or investment strategies involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. There is no assurance that any investment strategy will achieve its objectives.